So anyway, my GAL, guardian ad litem, or children's lawyer in the federal courthouse of Lackawanna County was Brenda Coble, and she told me I couldn't see both my parents. And I had to pick one. And I didn't want to, but I ended up getting full custody with my father. I remember at some point when I was with my dad, what happened was there was a paper printed out by Dr. Reefus. And I've mentioned this in prior videos. I've taken down accounts because we've come to the conclusion now. And I've made the wrong choice. But this is a country issue, a leadership issue, the enemy within from Summit, the Nevada base or unit. Definitely not a me issue. Definitely shouldn't take any vaccines. Definitely a management and boss issue. No, I don't need another needle in me. Thank you. No COVID vaccine. I'm so sorry. Marta, you're literally killing me. We'll get into it. But I remember this Dr. Reefus paper, and it said that my mom was a drug addict from New Jersey, and my dad said that, and I think he genuinely believed it. I don't know. He used to sit on the couch and say, lying B, she's a drug addict from New Jersey. And I know she isn't. Like, I just know that's not correct. But he said he went in, and he said there were a bunch of questions on a piece of paper with Dr. Reefus exam. It's supposed to be a psych eval. And my dad laughed, said, I'm not doing that. Can you help me out? And he said, oh, don't worry, it's just a stress test. So my dad didn't do anything. He said, okay, bet. And then he left. And then my mom went in and answered all the questions, and she asked how much was it, and they said $5,000. I don't know how much my dad paid for it, but I know it wasn't $5,000. I know that he did make one under the table payment for about $68,000, and he sold a plot of land for that. And she paid $5,000 for it, and then, which is like psychotic, because this is also 2008, and we should all have rights, and we shouldn't have paid $5,000 for a psych eval to prove that we're sane. And then my mom went in again, and she said, well, the first time she asked if we could have a receipt, and they said the paper is the receipt itself. She said, okay, so she left, and then she went in again, and they said, oh, you need another $5,000 to pay for that. Do you have the receipt? And she's like, they said the paper is the receipt itself. So the courthouse was clearly lying about the psych eval cost, and the psych eval itself is a lie. My mother is not a drug addict from New Jersey, and that is not what should be stated on a psych eval. That should be stated on a drug test. The drug part, and she's just not from New Jersey. She may have visited New Jersey, that might be true. But my mom's from Trevorton. I've seen her yearbook pictures. She's not from New Jersey. I believe my mom, like, fibbed. I think she said she had a high school degree and she didn't. I think she was like, I'm not doing the last part, which is, like, fine. I think a high school degree is important, but I think, like, knowing what's going on around you is more important, and understanding why your country won a biological war for you. And I just don't think any of this should be happening. What's going on, because it's wrong. It shouldn't be happening. And Major Nevercoke doesn't believe it's happening. And neither does my unit at Fort Cavazos, as the nurses are telling me the COVID vaccine is safe, but they have no research to prove that. So they shouldn't be saying that. But I can't say, oh, I think there are more girls born during stressful times. There is one study on it. It's not proven indefinite, but there's no studies on that vaccine because that vaccine was made to kill me. Thank you, Stevens. Nurse Stevens. Nurse from hell. Nurse Pam of Las Vegas. Like, I can't. Anyway. So, my mom's, like, paying $10,000 for this psych eval, and it says incorrect information. My dad's telling me this, and she never got the psych eval, and I'm not understanding what's going on because I'm 8. And I'm just, like, doing what I'm told to do to the best of my abilities and trying to be good. From what I was told, I said my mom was a liar. If I was with my dad and he saw the psych eval, or he said my mom was a liar when I went in, I likely would have repeated what he said if I was, like, 7. I don't recall that. I would not say that on a stand. But I want to see both my parents. My dad's abusive. And I've said that before. And they didn't seem to care. And there was never a drug test done. So my mom said she kept giving them hair follicle samples and paying them for drug tests. And they kept taking her hair follicle samples. This would be Brenda Coble and the judges in Lackawanna. Brenda's mom works at a lab of some sort. And her dad was in the Air Force, her stepdad. And it doesn't make sense to take these hair follicle samples if you're not producing a drug test. Why would you need that? And they kept taking more money from her. And then in 2012, she gave up her rights. I wish she gave it up sooner because this was horrible to watch from like 8 to 12. Every day I would come and see my mom. She'd be going through more financial stress. Nothing ever changed. And I just wanted her to stop like trying because I loved her. But I knew this wasn't her issue. I knew she loved me. And this was just horrible to watch her go through this. And that's when I missed her. But like nothing seemed to change. And when my dad read that psych eval, he likely, as the person who used to watch us, my mom would pay about $300 for that. And she left the bills pay. And they kept asking for more money for no reason. She was paying probably like $1,000 a month in child support. My dad was seeing $200 and I was seeing none. So the courthouse was taking like $800 of it, and they're lying about it. The federal and Supreme Courthouses do that. Anyway, so that's what was like going on there. My dad likely, like the lady who used to watch, said, I think that he doesn't like you because if he doesn't like your mom, you like your mom. Well, also when the federal and Supreme Court, this federal courthouse, and Dr. Rifus, who was hired by the federal courthouse, printed out a paper saying my mom was a drug addict from New Jersey, which is not true. Which, like, there's no drug test to prove she's a drug addict, so you can't say that because that's wrongful persecution right there. See? But the kid at the base in Nevada will come up with lots of excuses because his daddy's a lawyer, and he's offended by my statement. Anyway, Brenda would tell my mom people are going through worse. And my mom weighed about 70 pounds and ended up leaving her car, and she's really pressed, which is understandable. They took her kids away and they kept asking for more money, and so they were going to put her in jail. And according to Antonella of New York, they do put people in jail for not paying these fees that are lies. Like, you don't actually get a drug test, and they just take your hair for no reason. There's a reason. There's a reason they're robbing people this way, Ryan the lawyer of Scranton. And one of the parents I'm talking to right now, what's her name? Sarah Scotchless. She's going through a court case, and she said, no, Brenda's not, I believe this is something to do with the Ashkenazi Jewish religious persecution going on in the courthouse, and they're on the federal and Supreme courthouses, which is what I was told, and that's correct information. She said, no, Brenda, her GAL, her child's GAL, is not Jewish because she goes to Catholic church with Brenda. Well, that's called a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's part of her religion to lie and wrongly persecute Sarah. Because she practices an old book and a mean God, and she's hiding in that church, whether that's to deceive other people, or whether that is to not be associated with what she is, or to keep an eye on the church and make sure really bad things are happening to people, because she's playing God. And all the people, she's one of many people in this top 1%, that the Catholics would compare to demons. An Ashkenazi Jew, that's what they are in the Catholic religion. Can I say wolf in sheep's clothing? No, Sarah, a true Catholic would not treat you like that. And a lot of these preachers and pastors that are coming out from the Catholic Church that are like bad people and doing bad things, that's likely an Ashkenazi Jew, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And they're also bringing media attention to that because these people control the media. Because they're the top 1%. Because they steal everyone's money. Yep, this is how they do it. Anyway, back to the plot line. Ages like 8 to 12, during this time frame, I'm hearing these two things. I know what's going on. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I understand that I don't have any control. And around this time frame, I got a call from school. Hold up, this is a different story.